Welcome back to the Champion Mindset Collective podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Dahya, and I'm grateful that you're here listening to this podcast episode. We'd love for you to share this episode with your friends, your family, and your workmates. If you haven't already done so, please follow this podcast so you don't miss any future episodes and so we can get this podcast out to the wider community. Today, it's my absolute privilege to welcome you all to this podcast interview. Heidi Schalk is a business strategy coach, author, speaker, and the host of Be She podcast, which is Be Seen, Be Heard, and Be Empowered. She has featured on Fox, ABC, NBC, CBS, and the Daily Herald, and has been named one of the top 30 inspiring entrepreneurs to look out for in 2024 by the New York Journal. She spent 5 years helping women achieve their goals and build their six-figure businesses they love through the money mastery system. Heidi works with female entrepreneurs and gives them tools and strategies to confidently build successful online businesses on their own terms so that they can create the dream life that they themselves and loved ones. She believes that every woman who wants to have a 6 or 7 figure business gets to have it. And she empowers women to be seen, heard, and so they can make lasting impact on others in the world, their message and their story. Heidi started her business and she had a paralyzing fear of being seen and heard, and it held her back, and she played small for a while because of it. She was worried about what others would think and their opinions, and moving through the fear and letting go of the limiting beliefs was a journey that she navigated to build and grow her business. She now empowers women to be seen, heard, so that they can impact the world while building their business. Welcome, Heidi, to the Champion Mindset Collective podcast.
Thank you, Anthony, for having me. I'm really excited to spend time with you today and to dive into this conversation.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to have you here. So before we kick into some questions, tell us a little bit about your background, your upbringing, childhood, and how you got into this journey.
Thank you. For getting into this journey of entrepreneurship started about 5.5 to 6 years ago. And I found myself on this road because I was moving through a divorce. So prior to my divorce, I had been a stay-at-home mom, and my children were about 6 and 7, 7 and 8 at the time of the transition of moving through the divorce. So now I needed to find a way to take care of myself and my kids and bring in income. So I wanted to find a way to be home with my kids. I got really in touch with my why really quickly when I was moving through this process. We were all moving through a big transition. They were starting new schools. A lot of things were changing, but I knew that I wanted to be home with them so that no matter what, that would stay the same. That being said, it didn't happen right out of the gate. I did work 2 jobs. I did have 2 outside jobs that I went to in order to build my business. But I quickly realized when I found coaching, Anthony, when I first found coaching, I found this coach online and everybody made it seem so easy. Oh, you can start this business and you're going to be successful and you're going to make a lot of money. And as soon as I joined into it, I was like, oh no, there's a lot of other things that I get to move through in order to make that happen, because the fear of being seen, of showing up. Like I had an online social media account, but it was for me sharing my family stuff, like personal stuff. And I really didn't share much because again, I was like, what's too much, right? So immediately I found that fear of being seen showed up powerfully for me. And it was debilitating to where it held me back for a really long time. And that stemmed from my childhood. It stemmed from childhood experiences, which you just asked me about, like, what was your childhood like? So in my day, children were seen and not heard. But even then, when you were told you're seen and not heard, you're really not seen, because you're not able to be seen truly as you, because they want you to keep quiet. And for me, I was extremely shy. Naturally, as a child, I was extremely shy. So adding that to it kept me held back even more. I didn't want to be shown up in photos. I was scared to share my voice. I was scared to, I was scared of everything. But then there's other children and other people who have the opposite. They're very outgoing naturally, right? And then maybe they were told, because for me, my experience was different, but I do come across a lot of my clients who were the opposite. They were very outgoing. They were very excited to put themselves out there. They wanted to be seen. They wanted to shine their light. They had a beautiful, bold personality, right? And they were told, you're too much. You're too much. Why aren't you letting other people step forward? Stay back and let somebody else step up. So that was my journey. That was my experience. And that's the road that I've navigated up until this point. And now I help women step out of the shadows and into their light and be seen and be heard, so they can make a big difference in the world as far as how they want to make that difference and transformation.
Absolutely. Totally relate with that. I come from the same era where, be seen, not heard, and so on. And like you, when I just started this journey, it took me a while to get in front of the camera, even though like I'd been a singer, sung in front of 40,000 people, sung in Las Vegas, lots of different things. But getting in front of the camera and talking was a bit of a challenge. And I remember early this year, I challenged myself to 31 Facebook Lives in my Facebook group. And I did it every single day, turned up, showed up, and did it. And then the podcast had started in November last year. And so, yeah, you get that imposter syndrome, you get all that, all that belief from your past that comes in your trauma that affects you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, how did you overcome the fear, and what others would think, and your opinions and the opinions of others as well?
I love that. I love this question, and I love the fact that you just shared that you could sing in front of 40,000 people, but to get in front of a camera where there's nobody there was a fear for you. And that's really powerful, because I want people to take what you just shared and take that to heart and understand where that comes from. Because the way I was scared of being seen was going live on social media. And I was never in front of 40,000 people, but you had that experience. And it's really interesting that you still had a fear of getting in front of the camera. So for everyone, no matter where you're at in your business, or no matter where you are with where you want to get to in life, we're always going to have fears, and they're going to show up differently. So right now, when I first started my business, I had a huge fear of going live. I had a fear of putting out content. I had a fear of being seen, being heard, all of it. So I started from scratch. But I love what you just shared, because no matter where you are, like now that I've overcome the fear of going live, I can go live on a dime, right? But just coming live with you, or recording this podcast, when I'm stepping into an interview with a podcast, I still have that fear creeps up, even though I've overcome the fear of going live on social media. The fear of being seen in other arenas, whether it's walking on to a physical stage, or whether it's walking onto a podcast where I haven't met you before, like that fear shows up. Like, am I going to be good enough? Right? Am I going to be good enough for this person? Am I going to be good enough for their audience? Am I going to give the value that I want to support them on? Like, I take that responsibility greatly. I put that on my shoulders. So I just wanted to bring light to that, what you just shared, because I want everybody to know that being seen shows up, the fear shows up in different aspects, depending on what is outside of your comfort zone for you. If you are a speaker who walks out on stages every day, right, and you own that stage, and that's powerful for you, and you can walk out on a physical stage, you showing up on a podcast could be where the fear of being seen shows up for you. So it's different for everybody. When I first started my business, to answer your question, I had a huge fear of going live. And so I had joined this coaching program, and it was definitely outside of my budget as far as what I invested in. So that was scary enough as it was. And they held the coaching program inside of a private Facebook group. So we were safe inside of this community. Like, the outside world didn't have access to it. but it was still around a few hundred people inside this group. It was a big, big community. And there was a woman in there who was crushing it. She was their testimonial. She was their golden child. She went from homeless to $1 million, following the coaching that she was received. Well, her and I became friends inside of the group, and we were in the DMs together inside of Facebook. And she reached out to me one day and she was like, I have a challenge for you. Will you accept it? And I was like, sure. What could it, how bad can this be? Right. And she said to me, she goes, and it was late at night. She goes, great. I'm like, sure, I'll take your challenge. She goes, great. I want you to go live in the Facebook group right now. And your topic is my breakdown to my breakthrough. And I was like, oh, Anthony, my chest tightened up. My throat closed. I started shaking. I started sweating. Like you can walk out on a stage of 40,000 people, but getting in front of a camera on your computer, you probably had similar feelings, right?
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, those are the physical feelings that came up for me. And I'm like, I can't do that. And she goes, I'm here to support you and I will support you, but I'm on the other side of the pond. She was in England. I'm in Florida. She was like, you got to do it now. So I hung up with her on DM and I hit the live button. And Anthony, I tell my clients and I tell my audience all the time, if you step through the fear, I promise you, no matter what fear it is around being seen, you'll never be as bad as I was. I was shaking. My throat was closing. I could hardly speak. My chest was tight and I was sweating. And I was crying, Anthony, but I wasn't crying. I was bawling. My face swelled. My eyes were swollen. And I was hyperventilating as I was moving through this. And as I was talking, the emotions were so intense that a migraine started forming.
Wow.
So I got through the live stream. I hung up. We got back in the DM and she said, congratulations. I want to tell you, you did awesome. And I have another challenge for you. And I said, well, it can't be as bad as that was because that was horrifying. So I said, okay. And she goes, I want you to go live for the next 5 days. I said, good night. And I hung up. I shut down Facebook and I was like, I X'd out of the whole platform. The next morning I woke up and I was still swollen from all the crying and from all the trauma and all the stress. But I got back in that Facebook group and I was scared to open it up because I was afraid of the ridicule, I was afraid of the rejection. I was afraid of all the fears that are behind being seen. When you have a fear of being seen, the deep rooted fears are fear of rejection, fear of ridicule, fear of judgment, right? I had all those fears underlying when I opened up the group, but instead I received so much love, compassion, support. There were so many people that were like saying thank you. And I couldn't believe they were thanking me. They were like saying, thank you for showing up so vulnerably. Thank you for being so open about your fear. Thank you for doing it anyway. And now you've inspired me. I thought I was the only person on the planet that I had a fear of going live, right? No,
No.
I'm not. So that was eye-opening. They shared with me, like, I had this fear of going live too. Now you've inspired me. I'm going to go live today inside of my profile or inside of my community. Or other people may have not have had the fear of going live, but they were playing small in another way. For you, you were able to get on stages and sing, right? But you had a fear of being in the camera. So they may not have had a fear of going live, but they had another fear that was holding them back. And they were inspired to now take action. One of the coaches inside of the program did an impromptu training that day around my live stream and around, the power of being vulnerable and showing up, expressing that vulnerability and sharing that with your audience. So it was eye-opening for me in many ways. Did I get over the fear right away? Absolutely not. It was still a journey and still a process, but that was the pivotal point in my life and in my business. That was the trajectory that got me to where I am now. And I'm so grateful for that human, for that woman. She is forever my angel, who was the turning point for me in my business. And I want that for everybody, no matter who it is. Find someone that's going to hold you high enough and believe in you more than you believe in yourself. That'll
Absolutely.
push you forward.
Absolutely. And you step through your comfort zone to go through a little bit of pain and discomfort. But once you step through that and you knew that you could do it, there was nothing stopping you because you were like, hey, if I can do this, I can do anything. And, like I just yesterday, day before yesterday, I think on Facebook, a coach within my community acknowledged me for inspiring her to join Toastmasters. So I've been part of Toastmasters for about maybe 3 or 4 months, and and obviously she's been following my journey. I've interviewed her as well. My end goal is to be a international public speaker and change influencer, and so it was really nice to be able to from a distance be able to inspire someone else and who's taken that same journey. So and I didn't do anything special. I'm just doing what I do on a consistent basis, and it's inspired someone to take that, follow that path. So yeah, and that's amazing. There are people come into our lives at the right time to push us towards the next phase of our life, towards getting out of our comfort zone. And it's so important that we let go of our fears, and we let go of all the conditioning and all the anxieties, and just, what's the worst thing that's going to happen?
You're
Nothing.
not going to die. I didn't die on
Exactly.
the other side of it,
No.
right? You
It's
didn't die on the other side of,
no.
going live on your camera. You can walk, like I couldn't, I say that I can't walk on a stage of 40,000, but of course I could. I'm not going to die from it.
No.
But that's my next step. You've already conquered that.
Yeah.
So it's different for each person. I love the fact too that you shared that you want to be in an international,
Public speaker. Yeah.
yeah, public
Yeah.
speaker. Like, and that's important for entrepreneurs. And I love that you share that. And I want to highlight that too, because we hold back
Mm,
from telling people our big dreams and vision. And when we do that, we don't allow ourselves to inspire others, and
mm,
we don't allow others to hold us high enough to achieve that. So when
yeah.
you share that you want to be an international public speaker, you've now inspired other people to be
Mm,
like, that's awesome. And how
absolutely.
can I support you in getting there?
Yeah.
So for those of you listening, like, please take what Anthony's sharing and like do that yourself. And I'm learning that too. So by
Mm,
you sharing that with me today, that's pushing me forward too. I need to step out too and share my big dreams and vision, but we tend to play small and hide that,
we do.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we should be telling people, I want to be the number one motivational speaker on stages. I want to be an international public speaker. I want to be a best-selling author. I want to be like, let people know what you want to be. So
Mm,
you allow us to support you in getting there.
absolutely. 6 years ago, I was sitting in the dark on New Year's Eve, uh, asking the universe and God, what is my purpose? Why am I here? And uh, TV lit up with a photo, effectively like a vision, and I saw myself on stage speaking to a multitude of people. And on the stage with me were the greats like Jay Shetty and Lewis Howes and all these people. And I've held on to that vision because that is what I'm called to do. And
Mm.
I've been to a clairvoyant who said that I'm a light worker and a healer. So I'm holding on to those things and just pushing myself forward. So yeah, absolutely. If you're scared, um, don't be scared. Just dive on, and a couple of weeks ago, my daughter asked me to go zip lining with her, and I've never done that. I'm scared of heights,
I'm
and I
scared of
went,
heights too. You're scared of
yeah,
heights?
yeah,
So am
and I
I.
went, I've got to do this because I can't let my daughter down, and I did it, and it was amazing. Yeah. But look, I've got another question for you. So, what strategies do you use to empower women to confidently build successful online businesses?
Oh, we have our money system. But right, we really focus on the first thing is really getting yourself out there and being seen. Because once you have an idea, whether you're brand new in business or you're wanting to take your business to the next level and you're scaling, because there's times in our business where we're going to pivot a little. Maybe we're pivoting with our audience or our clients, or we're pivoting with our brand. So no matter where you are, no matter what idea you have, the first step is getting attention. You get to get attention, because it doesn't matter if you have an offer
Mm,
or what you want to put out there. You can't put it out there if you don't have attention. You need an audience to put it out with, and you get to play with it. So, and a lot of times, like, there's this fear of being seen no matter what it is. So I move them through that process first. But with our money system, it's a 5-step system. So one, we want to get you visibility, right? Visibility is key.
Mm-hmm.
And then we dial in your marketing and your messaging. That's the M in the money system. The money systems is an acronym. So we dial in your money, your messaging and your marketing, because if typically when there's a problem with your business, it comes from the marketing. And we've got to figure out where is the gap in your marketing to find out what's missing on why you're not getting the results you want to get. So we dial in your messaging. We need to know what the problem is that you solve. Who do you solve it for, right? Who's your ideal client? And what's the result that you're getting them? How are you filling the gap? Because typically your audience has already tried to solve the problem that they're in, because they're buyers, right? We want to get in front of the buyers. We don't want to get in front of the tire kickers. We want to get in front of the buyers that really want the result. Chances are they've tried a result before and there's a gap that's missing for them. How are you filling that gap so we can get them the results and get you in front of them so they're a yes. The O is for your offer, your irresistible offer. What
Mm-hmm.
is your offer, your irresistible offer that's going to get them to say, heck yes, you're my person. And that's, the problem that's in my head. You have the results I want, and I want to work with you. The N is for networking, which is exactly what we're doing here, you and I, Anthony. Like your network is your net worth.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not happy with your net worth, look at your net worth.
Yeah.
Your network. Typically, chances are your network isn't comprised of the people you should be in front of. Are you getting yourself in front of people, or are you putting yourself in rooms
Mm.
that are where people are where you want to be? Like, we don't want to be the smartest in the room. Can we be in that room? Absolutely supporting, but we also want to be in the rooms where we're not the smartest and we're growing and evolving, but also building your network, getting on other people's stages, getting in front of other people's audiences. We don't have to lone wolf this.
No.
I'm a recovering lone wolfer. Hi, my name is Heidi. I'm a recovering lone wolfer. I definitely did not do this at the beginning of my business. And if I could go back and change things, I wish I would have networked a lot sooner. Now, in the next month, we are probably on 3 to 4 event stages, not including podcasts. I think in the last week, we recorded 6 podcasts
Wow.
for other stages. Like that, I'm putting myself in rooms, and I
Mm.
want everyone to be putting themselves in rooms. You don't need to do this alone. Building your own audience is great, but you can get in front of other audiences easily and be building your audience and growing your clientele in a different way by networking. That is money. The E is for enrollment. For
Mm-hmm.
women, we tend to have a fear of asking for money. We
Mm.
undervalue our worth and our programs. So in the E part of the money system, we teach you how to effectively and easily enroll clients into your programs and charge what you're worth. I'm not saying that you should always be charging $35,000. Like out of the gates, maybe that's not where you are, but we're going to get you to where you need to be by setting up your offer tier, so you can get to offering different things to set yourself up to reaching different clientele. And then the Y in the money system is for showing up authentically as you, like really, owning who you are, showing up with all your quirks, all your craziness, because
Mm-hmm.
perfect doesn't work in the online space. Perfect is boring. People don't like perfect. Perfect doesn't exist. And let go of perfectionism. Again, I'm also a recovering perfectionist.
Progress over
Um,
perfection, right?
yeah, and you
Yeah.
get to show up in all the things that make you different and unique, because that's what's gonna attract your people to you.
Mm. Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. Thank you. That money system, money mastery system sounds amazing. So, what is the most rewarding part of helping women create their dream lives through entrepreneurship?
Oh, that's a great question. It's really seeing them walk through their fear and get
Mm.
through the other side of it. And they all have different fears. Again, it's typically around being seen. It's just a matter of being seen in what arena they're afraid of being seen in. And really moving through. When I start working with someone, I onboard them one-on-one,
Hmm.
and I ask them about their why. I
Yeah.
want to know what their why is. And many times it's not deep enough. So they're sent home with homework before we meet again, because many people I want to make money. And I'm like, that's awesome. That's great. I want you to make money. But when the days get hard, because Anthony,
Mm.
entrepreneurship's not easy. It's
No.
not a linear road. It's not from A to Z. We're not walking, straight line. It's ups and downs. It's thunder and lightning. It's not all rainbows and cupcakes. It's going to be a zigzag along the
Mhm.
journey, and it's a lonely road,
Mm.
right? Yes, we can surround ourselves with community and support and mentorship, but there are days that you're on your own with this. And those
Absolutely.
are typically the days where it gets hard. So I need to know that my clients are really connected to their why. So I'm like, what's the why that makes you cry?
Mm.
Like you shared about your daughter, like you had a fear of heights, but she obviously is part of your why
Absolutely.
because you pushed forward through that fear in order to to be there for her.
Mm.
And that's what I want for my clients. When those days get hard and the fear shows up, you need to be connected to that why that drives you. When I started my business, my why was I wanted to be home with my kids. Did it start off like that? No. Is it still my why? Yes. Right now it's still my why because my kids are still home in school.
Mm.
So they're still in school, but they're getting older. They're getting more
Mm.
independent. So my why is going to shift and evolve. And I let people know, like, listen, your why, that's what you have right now, doesn't mean that it's going to be your why in 5 years or even in 5 months. But I need to know that it's emotionally pulling to you, like it's tugging on your heartstrings. So
Yeah.
when you come to me and you're like, I can't do this anymore, I'm going to be like, why are you doing this? What's your why?
Mm.
And
Yeah.
if it's emotional and
Yeah.
it makes you tear up, then you'll keep going. If it's about the money,
No.
you're going to
It's
give up
it's
along
gotta
the way.
it's gotta be your purpose and your
Yeah.
passion.
Yeah.
Passion and purpose. You could living a purposeful life, and even in your business. Absolutely. Um,
Absolutely.
so with the be seen and be heard, I mean, it can be quite competitive, right, out there. I mean, the market is saturated. I mean, I went on this coaching journey, and I realized that actually coaching is something that I kind of wanted to build the skills, but it's not my end goal. So for women, how do you help them when this world can be so loud and so competitive? How do you help them through that?
Hmm. That's a great question. This excites me. So this is where the why of the money system comes in, and that's where the authenticity shows up. And really knowing what it is, how you truly help someone.
Mm.
What is it that makes you different from other people in your space? Because I want you to have other people doing something similar to what you do. If you're the only person in your space that's doing what you do, chances are there's a reason for it, right? So we want to have competitors. And I don't consider anyone competition. I feel like other female business strategists out there, like, we're better together. If I don't feel like I can help a client, I will refer them to someone else and vice versa. I never see anybody as competition. I want to collaborate.
Mm.
Connection is currency, collaboration is currency. Competition will make you broke,
Mm.
right? So there's no reason to compete. That being said, what makes you different? How are you filling the gap? Like that's where that gap comes in. Look at your competition, look at the people in your space and what makes you different from them. How are you transforming lives that are different from them? That's what's going to make you stand out from the crowd. There are two types of oceans that I tell my clients and my audience about all the time. There's the red ocean and there's the blue ocean, and I live in Florida, so this is my analogy because it fits. There
Mm.
is the shark infested waters where
Mm.
everybody in your market is fighting for the same people.
Mm-hmm.
That's the red ocean, right? And then there's the blue ocean where you are out by yourself. You are solo. This is your world, your corner of the market.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you're really putting your stake in the ground. You're telling people who you are unapologetically. You're
Mm-hmm.
showing up. This is the problem that I solve. This is the person that I help. If you're not this person, I love you and we're not meant to work together, right?
Mm.
I get to
Mm.
release you and I get to support you in finding out who your person is to support you. This is the problem I solve. This is the person I help. And this is the result that I get them. And you focus on one thing because many people, both men and women in the coaching space, we want to help people with everything, right? When you're helping everybody with everything, you're helping no one. When you're helping focused on one person to help them through one problem
Mm-hmm.
and get one result, that's where you're going to help hundreds and thousands of people, because broad is broke and richer is nicher.
Mm, absolutely. That is so true. Thank you so much for sharing that. So, what advice would you give women who are just starting the journey in entrepreneurship?
Okay. Find community.
Mm-hmm.
Find community right out of the gate, because your community, the people, if you're in entrepreneurship, there could be a good chance that the people in your inner circle, meaning the people that not online in your home life, may not be as supportive as you want them to be, because they don't understand it. I think more and more people are starting to understand entrepreneurship now because of since the pandemic. But that being said, you still may hear people saying, like, just get a 9 to 5. Why don't you just do this? Like, why are you doing that? Because they want to protect you. So find community, go online
Mm,
and find a group of people, find a support system, find that community that's going to support you and lift you up when the days get hard, and who understand what your vision is. Mentorship is key.
mm,
Find a mentor that you trust and believe can get you where you want to be, and you do your research, right? Do your research. I'm not saying I'm the right person for you, and that's why I do calls. There's certain programs we have that you can just enter into, and then we have our high level. I don't let anybody into that high level program, because
mm,
that's where we work more one-on-one. And
mm-hmm.
I want to make sure that I can get you to where you want to go. So find someone that you trust, have the conversations, ask the hard questions. Two, don't give up.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people right now are leaving the coaching
Mm,
space and they're going back to the 9 to 5.
mm,
And I would say, so you mentioned earlier, Anthony, saturated. The market's becoming less saturated because
is it?
people are leaving. People
Mm,
are leaving. So there are ways of standing out, and there are ways of getting of lasting inside of this space. It's not easy. I'm going to tell you it's not easy, but it can be simple. So find that mentor, find that community, find the one strategy that you really want to wrap your head around and take on, and focus on one strategy, because it's really easy to start buying multiple courses, this,
mm,
and throwing spaghetti at the wall.
mm-hmm.
Find one strategy that you are going to rinse and repeat until you perfect, so that you are bringing in money. Because at the end of the day, the number one priority when you're building a business is to bring in revenue ASAP,
Mm,
so that you have a business and you can start bringing in like a VA or an assistant. Because if we're not bringing in revenue in our business, we have an expensive hobby.
yeah.
So my number one goal is I want people bringing in revenue so that we can bring in an assistant or support, so we could take off the stuff that they don't need to be dealing with and
Mm-hmm.
focus on those revenue generating activities. That
Yeah.
was a lot of advice.
Yeah.
I hope it
I'm
resonated.
sure that's going to help people. Absolutely. Um, so, what about finding the balance and building successful business while also sort of making a lasting impact in the message?
Okay, so for work-life balance, I love
Yeah.
this. Yeah, I love this because recently I let go of the work-life balance ideology. Um, I, because I was striving for work-life balance for a long time. I'm a single mom building a business, and I did step away from my business for a period of time. I needed to, in order to create that balance, because I was in the burnout stage. I did go through
Mm,
burnout when I first started. So when I came back, I learned what didn't work and I fixed it. So I made sure when I came back to, my business, that I could, I didn't make those same mistakes. That being said, I was still striving for work-life balance. And I realized recently that work-life balance doesn't exist for me. And for most women and most entrepreneurs, it doesn't. But I feel like there's so many people out there touting it. And I realized that for me, hearing work-life balance meant perfectionism.
mm,
And I'm like, okay, I've tried that before. I'm a recovering perfectionist. And once that word hit me, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm trying to strive for perfectionism with work-life balance, that perfection doesn't exist. And I'm constantly beating my head against the wall, trying to achieve this. And I'm constantly feeling bad about myself that I'm not achieving it. So no matter what I'm achieving inside of my business and what success we're getting, I'm still not feeling good about myself because I don't have that balance. So for me, I like looked at myself and I'm like, okay, there's a scale here. I'm in the middle of it and I'm trying to balance work and my kids, right? And then there's self-care I've got to throw in there too. So and I'm like trying to get things even all the time was something I couldn't achieve. So what I realized was I started saying, I am creating work-life grace. So sometimes my business is going to weigh heavier on this side, and sometimes my kids are going to need more of me, and sometimes I need more of me. Like I need to create more self-care in my life. So I threw out the mantra of work-life balance and I created work-life grace. I feel much better about it. And I brought my kids into the mix where I'm like, you know what, mommy's working till 9 tonight. I've got these events going on and let's figure out dinner. What do we need to order? Right. Or, you know what are we doing this weekend? So you guys can get some fun and get mom time, and work's going to take or I stop working at 4 because we're going to go to dinner. Like after this tonight, we're going to dinner. We already decided we're going to dinner. And they're like, where do you want to go? So once we end, we get to go grab dinner, because that's what we created. So that's what we've established.
It's so important to show yourself compassion, and so many people beat themselves up because they're not achieving what they expect, if the expectations are. And I remember Jay Shetty on one of his podcasts saying, instead of work-life balance, he calls it work-life priorities, because it's you're never going to get that balance, but it's about prioritizing your work and your life so that you're able to do what you need to do in both areas of your life. And generally, like what you do in one area of life then relates to how you are, and because you're a human being, you are being in your work and in your family. So it's about being consistent in both. And it's like someone I did a leadership course last year where they talked about, if people were at your funeral, what would you want them to say about you? Um, would they talk differently about your work and differently about your family life, or would you want them to be consistent about how consistent you were in both areas of your life? So I think that's quite important, that we create work-life priorities, and I love the grace part of it as well. That is really cool, because it's about giving yourself grace and compassion and empathy, and saying, hey, look, I didn't achieve this today, but tomorrow's another day, you know.
Right.
Also, instead of perfection, it's about, are you making progress? Because if you're moving forward, then that's the
That's all that
main thing.
matters.
That's all that matters. Absolutely. So,
And for women, we carry a lot of guilt. We can put a lot of guilt on ourselves. So that's why I was like, okay, I get to replace the guilt with grace. So that's where that came.
Absolutely. So my last question, before we go into the quick fire questions, which is 5 questions at the end, is this relates to, what does it mean to you to be named one of the top 30 inspiring entrepreneurs to look out for in 2024 and by the New York Journal? But also, I also like to hear a little bit about you featuring on Fox and ABC and NBC and CBS. What was that experience like? So it's a double barrel question. It's like, so what is it like to be named top 30 inspiring entrepreneur, and also what was the experience like being on those networks?
Well, for both, it's very exciting and it's fun and different. I take it very seriously that to be named one of the most, inspiring entrepreneurs to look out for in 2024. It keeps pushing. It's one thing that keeps driving me every day. I'm like, okay, I get to live up to this. And when I look back on 2024, what did I create? What did we do to live up to that? Did we live up to it? And how are we inspiring people going forward? But I also I want to inspire, but I want people to take action. Like,
Mm,
there's a lot of times that we can be motivated, right? We can listen to motivational speakers and we can get all excited and rah-rahed about what they talk about, but I want people to take action on it. So if I'm inspiring, but people aren't taking action, then I get to look at that and go, okay, where's the gap, right? That's the word I keep coming up with today. Where's that gap, and how do I
mm,
go from inspiring to actually getting results? Because I
mm,
want to be inspiring, but I want you to take action. So anything like I've shared today, I hope your listeners are like taking action on that. I just don't want to inspire you and you get to go like, oh, awesome, yay, and feel good. I want you to actually take action on it to create results inside of your business or inside of whatever you want to create for yourself, whatever your
mm,
vision is that you're moving towards. As far as being featured on those networks, it was awesome. And I think the media is an important place to be. There are different ways to be inside the media. I'll share some easy places for your audience. So if you're an entrepreneur right now and you want media exposure, yet it takes a little more work to get on networks as far as being on TV or anything like that. But as far as being on, like, if you want to be featured in a journal or something like that, you can go to Haro.com, which is help a reporter out, or you can go to Quoted, QWOTED.com, and you literally can go and research people. Those reporters are asking for support. They're putting out there what they want information on. And if you could submit your expertise on there, and if they accept it, then you will be featured and in Quoted, or
mm.
you'll be featured in one of those places. So yes, that's different than Fox and NBC and all of that, but it's a stepping stone of you getting into the media, and that's going to help build your media kit resume when you move into wanting to be on TV or anything like that.
That's awesome. Yeah. You were talking about being inspired and taking action, and I believe that we take inspired action. We gain the inspiration from a higher self, God or universe. We then our intuition then kicks in, and we take inspired action, and that's how you build motivation. So when you're consistently doing something, taking steps forward, that's how you build motivation. We just sitting there going, "I need motivation," is not going to come. It's never going to come that way. You've got to step out of your comfort zone, got to take action and move forward. And as Heidi has shared, there's so many different ways that you can get yourself onto various different forums or media networks to be able to um, get your message across.
Mhm. And
Now,
build your credibility and authority. It helps you by getting in the media, whether it's just, through Haro or through Quoted
mm,
or even being on podcasts. Like, you're building your authority and credibility, because when somebody else is quoting you or somebody else is bringing you on, like I have my podcast, I bring guests
mm,
on, that's building their authority and credibility because I'm saying that they're good and I
yeah,
appreciate their expertise that I'm bringing them on, just like you're doing the same with yours.
absolutely.
And you shared something about, and I don't want to take up more of your time. I know we're on a thing. But when it comes to motivation and inspiration, like, action brings clarity. So if you're listening to this and going, well, I don't even know what action to take, any action brings clarity. It's either going to tell you you're going in the right direction, or no, I get to pivot and move this way. So
That's
just
feedback.
get inspired, but take some form of action, because every step that you take forward is going to bring you more clarity in what direction you're going into.
Absolutely. And if you end up going the wrong way, it's feedback.
Yeah.
Pivot, and move forward. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So I've got 5 quick questions, and these can be one word or a quick sentence. So,
Okay.
how do you define success, and has that definition changed for you over time?
Um, how do I define success is family,
Hmm,
and it hasn't
absolutely.
changed.
That's awesome. Yeah. Who's your greatest inspiration and why?
Oh, that's a good question. When I first started my business, I listened to Les Brown and Lisa Nichols.
Hmm,
So they were probably the beginning inspiration. Do I listen to them as much anymore? No, but They're still like at the top.
Lisa's amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. What is something you believe that others might disagree with?
What I believe that other might do. Um, Visibility is key. All visibility is good visibility. Like whether like stand your ground on what, no matter what the feedback is, it's getting you forward.
Absolutely, it's constructive, right?
Mm.
Yeah. All right. If you could go back to your younger self, and I mean you look young as you are, but if your younger self, what was one piece of advice be for your younger self?
Do it scared.
Hmm. And last question is, what is one message you'd like to tell the world, share with the world?
Go after your dreams.
Hmm.
Don't give up. Your dreams were brought to you because they're unique for you. Nobody gets to tell you that they're not. It's everything is possible for you, and don't play small. Go
Yeah,
big.
go big.
We get one go round in this world, and you get to go big.
Absolutely. Dream big. Like Marilyn Monroe said, the sky is not the limit. Your mind is the limit. So
Mm.
get out of your way, because what is in the way is the way. But get out of your way and move forward, and just go for it. I'm a massive dreamer, and I just love
I
it
know. I
because it
can tell. I
excites
love
me.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so Heidi, this has been amazing. I've thoroughly enjoyed listening to your answers to these questions, and sharing what you've shared. Now, if someone's inspired by what you've shared, what's the best way for them to get hold of you, or join your program and be part of the community that you've created?
Thank you. I would love to connect. You can, there's a couple ways to meet. I'm on every platform.
Mm.
So you can, probably the best place to find me would be Instagram, but I'm on LinkedIn, I'm everywhere. But at Heidi Schalk Coaching is pretty much the tagline for any platform that you want to find me on. You can also go to HeidiSchalk.com. My last name is Schalk. It's chalk with an S in front of it. HeidiSchalk.com. There's a bunch of freebies on there that you can go to grab and download to support you in building your business. If you want to connect and chat and find out if it's possible to work together, if we're a fit to work together, or if you just have questions about your business and want support on what your next step is, then go to scalewithheidi.com and let's have a conversation. I'd love to chat with you.
Thank you. Awesome. So if you're listening to this or watching this episode and you're an aspiring entrepreneur, you want to start your own business, you're sick of the 9 to 5 and you really want to start your side hustle, or a business, go full on into the business, I'd really highly recommend Heidi. Get in touch with Heidi, and really, you've got you can I can tell the authenticity from your heart, that you really want to help people. So, get in touch with Heidi, and I'm sure she's gonna blow your mind, and she's going to take you places you've never been before. So
I'm gonna
it's
shake you with love.
absolutely. It'll be like the Star Trek Enterprise. You'll go to galaxies never been before.
Oh, I
Um,
love that.
so thank you, Heidi, so much for joining us today. We'll put all the links into the description of this podcast episode, and I'd love to have you back for another episode at some point. Maybe we could break down some topics, and have specific topics we can talk about. So
I would love that.
thank you
Thank you,
so
Anthony.
much, and I wish you the best for your dinner tonight with your family.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Where are you going for dinner?
I don't know yet. My son has an idea, so he's going to let me know. But I told him I want a salad. I do know I want a salad. So
Uh, oh, you gotta go out. Gotta go all out. Go on.
I know we've been eating pretty badly the last few days, pizzas and stuff. So I'm like, I'm craving a salad. So
Salad.
he's coming up with some ideas. But thank you so much for this, Anthony. It's been such a pleasure. I would love to come back. So
Yes.
anytime you're
Let's do
ready, I'm
this.
ready.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So look, if you have been listening to this podcast episode, please, I'd encourage you to join Heidi, or or really have a think about what you want to do in your life. And if you're not sure about your purpose and passion in life, then reach out to a coach, reach out to me, because I've been through this journey myself. And this platform or this podcast is to really help inspire people and build a mindset of a champion, you know, not just to be normal, but to be a champion in your life. So I encourage you to champion your life, champion your greatness, and have an amazing day. And please share this episode with someone else that may benefit from this, or maybe maybe inspired. So thank you so much. Have an amazing day, everyone. Bye.